Hi everyone, I'm Akhil, a pricing strategy expert. Today I want to talk about SaaS, software as a service, and break down what it is from a pricing perspective. Don't worry if you're new to this. We'll use simple analogies and stories along the way. First, imagine the old days of software. Think about buying a DVD or a CD for a movie or an album. You pay once, take it home, and it's yours. Software used to be like that too. You'd buy a box with a CD, install the program on your computer, and that was it. You paid a big one-time price and owned that version of the software. If a new version came out next year, you had to buy it again if you wanted the updates. This traditional model is very much like buying a car. A big upfront payment, then it's yours to maintain. Now contrast that with today. Many of us stream movies on Netflix or music on Spotify by paying a monthly subscription. You don't own the movie or the software. You subscribe to it and get access as long as you keep paying. That's SaaS in a nutshell. SaaS is software as a service, which basically turns software from a one-time product you purchase into an ongoing service you subscribe to. Instead of installing a program from a disk, now you usually log in through the internet and pay a recurring fee to use the software. It's the difference between owning and renting your tools. In fact, a great analogy is renting an apartment versus owning a home. When you own a home, you pay a lot upfront and you're responsible for the maintenance, mowing the lawn, fixing the water heater, keeping everything secure. When you rent an apartment, you pay monthly and the landlord takes care of the upkeep. SaaS is like the landlord model. The provider maintains the servers, updates the software, handles security, and you just pay your subscription and use the service. So how does SaaS differ from the old install and buy model? Let's break it down. Traditional software, sometimes called on-premise software, typically meant you install it on your own machines and you buy a license upfront. Maybe your company buys 100 licenses of a CRM software, installs it on 100 PCs, and that's a huge one-time expense. You then might have optional maintenance fees or paid upgrades, but essentially you made a big upfront investment for a limited number of copies. In the old days, this also meant that your IT department had to manually update each computer when new versions came out, and you had to handle any hardware or security issues yourself. SaaS takes a different approach. With SaaS, the software is hosted by the provider and delivered over the internet. You typically pay a subscription, often monthly or yearly, instead of a large upfront cost. For example, instead of paying $1,000 for a software CD, you might pay $20 per month to use it online. Over time, that might add up, but the entry cost is low and you can often start and stop as you need. Importantly, the SaaS provider is like that landlord. No hardware for you to maintain or update, and updates are automatic on their end. You just open your web browser, log in, and you're always on the latest version. This makes things easier and more flexible for users, and it changes how companies selling software make money. The shift to recurring subscriptions from pricing perspective, this shift to SaaS is huge. Instead of selling software as a one-off product, companies now sell it as an ongoing service. The goal, pioneered by early SaaS companies, was to remove those big upfront payments and replace them with monthly or annual payments for access. In other words, the software company doesn't just get paid once. They get a steady stream of revenue as long as you stay subscribed. This is called recurring revenue, and it's the lifeblood of SaaS. Businesses love it because it is more predictable. They can forecast how much money will come in each month more easily than if they were chasing one-off sales. In fact, in SaaS companies, we track metrics like MRR, which stands for monthly recurring revenue. MRR measures the predictable income from subscriptions each month. It's an important number that tells us how the business is growing over time with its subscribers. Contrast that with the old model. A big spike in revenue when a new version launches, then a dip, then another spike when selling the next upgrade. SaaS smooths that out into a continuous flow. For customers, the pricing shift has pros and cons as well. Now the pros are no huge upfront cost, obviously. It's often easier on your budget to pay, say, $20 a month than $5,000 at once for a software. It also usually means you're always getting the latest features without extra charges. No need to buy software 2.0 next year because you will get it automatically as it is part of the service. The con here is, over a long period, subscriptions can add up. If you subscribe for many years, you might end up paying more in total than the one-time purchase would have been. Kind of like how renting an apartment for decades could cost more than buying a house. And of course, if you stop paying, you lose access. Whereas in a purchase license, you could theoretically keep using the old software as long as it runs. So there's a trade-off, but the trend is clear. both businesses and customers have largely embraced the subscription model because of its flexibility and convenience. Salesforce, Slack, and more. Let's talk about a couple of well-known examples to make this concrete. The poster child of SaaS is Salesforce. Salesforce is a customer relationship management or CRM software which launched in the late 1990s, and it did something revolutionary for the time. Instead of selling a CRM in a box, Salesforce offered it over the internet with a monthly pay per user subscription. Mark Benioff, the founder of Salesforce, basically said, "We're not going to charge huge licenses. We're going to let companies subscribe to our software like a utility." People thought he was crazy at first, but it worked. Salesforce became one of the first big SaaS success stories, proving that the subscription model with recurring revenue could beat the old model. By 2004, Salesforce went public and showed the world that a subscription-based business with ongoing customer relationships can be incredibly broad. Now, pretty much every enterprise software has a cloud or SaaS options, thanks in part to Salesforce leading the way. Another example you might be familiar with is Slack. Slack is a workplace communication tool, kind of like a chat room for your team. It's delivered completely as a service over the internet. You can start with a free version of Slack and then upgrade to a paid plan that unlocks more features. How do they charge? Per user per month. So if a company has 10 employees on Slack standard plan, and let's say it's around $8 per user per month, that company pays about $80 each month for Slack. If they add more employees, the monthly bill goes up accordingly. If someone leaves, you can drop the seat and the bill goes down. This per user subscription model is very common in SaaS. It's flexible and scales with the size of the team. Slack's approach, like many SaaS companies, also focuses on making it easy to join and then providing value so that the businesses are willing to pay over time. The key is Slack doesn't make a penny from you buying a software CD. They make money by serving you continuously and keeping you subscribed. Think about other software you might know. Microsoft Office versus Office 365. Old way was buying Office 2010 on a CD. New way is subscribing to the Microsoft 365 online. Or Adobe Photoshop versus Adobe Creative Cloud. Adobe switched from selling boxed software to subscription only. Even many video games now have subscription models. The SaaS approach is everywhere. Now let's talk about since I'm a pricing strategy nerd, let's connect this to strategy. When you move to a SaaS model, pricing isn't just about making the initial sale. It's about building a long-term relationship with the customer. Companies track things like churn rate, which is how many subscribers cancel each month, because keeping customers subscribed is crucial. If a customer cancels or churns, in a SaaS business, you're not just losing one sale, you're losing all the future payments you hope to get from them. So SaaS companies put a big emphasis on customer success and satisfaction. They want you to keep finding value in the service month after month. It's a lot like gym membership or a streaming service. They need to keep you happy enough not to cancel. This focus on retention means stronger customer relationships. In fact, turning one-time software buyers into long-term subscribers often turns transactions into ongoing relationships. The company isn't just selling and saying, "Goodbye, enjoy your software." Instead, they're constantly engaging with you, offering support, updates, maybe community forums, and looking for feedback to improve. It's a more service-oriented mindset. Now, from a revenue standpoint, this means SaaS businesses measure success a bit differently. We mentioned MRR or monthly recurring revenue already, and its bigger brother, ARR, annual recurring revenue. These tell the company how much revenue is coming in on a recurring basis. They also look at LTV, customer lifetime value. Basically, how much revenue an average customer brings in over the entire time they were subscribed. Because the longer you stay, the higher your lifetime value. To increase these metrics, pricing strategy in SaaS often involves offering tiered plans. For example, a basic, pro, enterprise, to get people to upgrade as they need more features. It might involve upselling, which is like offering add-ons or higher tiers, or discounts for annual commitments to reduce churn. And importantly, SaaS pricing strategy often includes a free tier or freemium model so that people can try the service maybe with limited features and then convert them to paid plans. This is different from old software where a free trial was just a teaser and then a one-time sale. In SaaS, a free trial can lead to a long subscription, so it's worth it for companies to let you test the waters. To put it simply, SaaS pricing is less about the price tag on the box and more about the ongoing value that is delivered. It's a win-win if done right. Users get continuous improvements and support, and companies get a steady income and a chance to build loyalty. Pricing strategy has to account for that by setting a price that customers are willing to pay regularly and by providing enough value so that they stick around. So there you have it. SaaS basics from a pricing perspective. We looked at how SaaS is like renting software instead of buying, how that shifts the model to recurring subscriptions instead of one-time purchases, and we saw examples like Salesforce and Slack that illustrate this shift in action. We also touched on what that means for how companies think about pricing and customer relationships. It's an ongoing story, not a one-time deal. If you found this helpful and want to dive deeper into pricing strategies, make sure to check out the rest of this series. In upcoming videos, we'll explore things like different SaaS pricing models, things like tiered, per use, freemium, how to set the right price, and common pitfalls to avoid. Whether you are just curious about the tech business or thinking about launching your own SaaS someday, understanding this subscription model is key. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.